Welcome back, everybody. On today's video, we're gonna do some shrimp pesto pasta meal prep. It's gonna be a good one. It's macro-friendly, delicious. Stay tuned. My name is Janine. I am a certified nutrition and fitness coach. I am also a certified menopause coach. On this channel, I post tons of stuff about weight loss, menopause, nutrition, macros. If you are interested in that kind of content, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit the bell to be notified. Let's get into this week's meal because it's delicious. So I am an online coach and my clients have access to my meal plan database right inside the app. And on today's video, I'm going to give you guys a little sneak peek into what that's like. Specifically because this meal comes right out of that database. In fact, most of the meals that you see here on my YouTube are in that database. Now, I can't take credit for this particular meal. My daughter and I, my daughter who also works with me, she often shares her meals with me. And if it looks good, I tell her immediately, get in the app, put it in there for the clients, and then of course selfishly so that I can make it too. So this is actually one of her creations. It's actual pasta, by the way. We eat pasta. We love pasta. Nothing wrong with incorporating pasta into a balanced diet. So this is right out of my meal planner. If you're my client watching, yes, it's in there. Just go ahead and search. Let's see. I have it in there as shrimp pesto pasta. I don't love to meal prep. It's just not my favorite way to eat. But when it comes to pasta, I meal prep it because to me, pasta meals tend to taste better each day that goes on. And it's just a lot easier to make it in bulk. So we are actually going to do 4 servings today in one shot. So I've got my little meal prep containers over here. And then, like I said, I'm going to do a little demo of my app for you guys to see. Just to give you an idea of what it's like to work with me and have access to it. But when it comes to something like that, when you want to meal prep, I have it up on the screen, but you can tap on the meal and select number of servings so that it'll alter the recipe for something you're going to meal prep. So I'm going to do 4 servings of this shrimp pesto pasta. So that is what I've indicated here. So it changes all of the ingredients to multiples of 4. And then another thing I want to point out is when it comes to just in general, when you're making a recipe and you need to know what the macros are for that recipe, all you need to do is tabulate the total of all the ingredients that you have in there. So the total calories, total protein, total carbs for every single ingredient that you put into that recipe. And then at the end, when it's made, you divide that recipe into equal servings, and then you divide all of those numbers into by the number of servings. And then you've got your macros. It's not as complicated as it sounds. It's actually quite simple, but it seems to trip people up. So hopefully that clarifies it. If it doesn't, drop a question in the comments. I'd be happy to help you out. But let's go ahead and get into it. So all of these ingredients are from Trader Joe's. You can get them from anywhere. The majority are from Trader Joe's, but we're gonna do the red Argentinian shrimp. So the recipe calls for 20 ounces of this. So we're going to go with 20 ounces of this shrimp. And I've got the shrimp back here in the sink. We're going to be sauteing that in a moment. This is the pasta that we went with rigatoni. And it's 12 ounces of rigatoni or 340 grams. And yes, I measured it based off of the dry, uncooked measurement. So 340 grams right out of the box. And that's back here in my pot. And I just added some salt and water, and then we're going to boil that. Now that it's boiling, we're going to do that for 13 minutes. I've got the timer on. We've also got some kale. The best way to bulk up your meals, add nutrition to your meals, is by picking a green and adding it in. That's gonna give you fiber, it's gonna give you lots of micronutrients, and it's gonna bulk up the meal. So we're gonna add kale. We're gonna go with this vegan kale, cashew, and basil pesto. This is from Trader Joe's. This one is the most macro-friendly in terms of pesto. Pesto's a little high in calories. but it's healthy fats. It's made with olive oil. It's got lots of nutritious value in here. So don't worry about that too much. But this one is 180 calories per serving. We are also going to top this off with some Parmesan cheese. And then I am also going to modify my daughter's recipe a little bit and add in some Greek yogurt. This will make it a little more creamy, and it's also gonna add in some additional protein. So let's go ahead and get into some of this preparation. Oh, I also have these garlic cubes from Trader Joe's. I love these. So we're gonna pop a couple cubes into this pan and saute the shrimp. Okay, now the pasta. All right, so the pasta is just about ready. I like mine a little al dente. So it's been 13 minutes boiling. So we're gonna take that off and then rinse that. Ooh, ow. Run that through the colander, but not without a towel. All right, now we're gonna put in the kale. So we're gonna add the kale to the shrimp has been sauteed. And by the way, spices, onion, salt, garlic powder, a little red pepper. You don't need a lot of seasoning because the pesto has a lot of the seasoning in it. That's the beauty of something like this. Oops. So we're gonna saute the kale in here. So that's gonna take a minute. Kind of cover it for a little bit. Let that cook down. For 4 servings, the pesto sauce is basically the entire container. So it worked out perfectly for that. And I'm doing some faille, but I'm gonna add that last. That's gonna be the very last thing that I add. Okay, so here's the trick when it comes to something like this. Obviously, it's gonna be difficult to get the exact amount of protein in each one because, you know, the nature of what type of dish this is. And you're gonna run into that with a lot of things like this. But when you're meal prepping, if you are the one that is consuming all of them, it doesn't matter. Eyeball it. Split it up into what you think looks equal. And at the end of the week, you are the one that consumed all of those macros regardless of whether you had a little more protein on one day, a little less. It doesn't matter. As the saying goes, it all comes out in the wash. So don't worry about it. That's the beauty of meal prepping for yourself. It makes it a lot easier. If you were doing this for your family, what I would do is keep the shrimp separate because that's the most important thing that really needs to be equal, and drop that in separately after. When it comes to the pasta, if you want to get real tedious with it, or if you're type A, what you can do is measure the entire pesto pasta, the weight, and then you can divide that by the number of servings, and then you can weigh out each portion so that you get the weight equal. So there's ways to be more accurate. It all depends on whether you're eating all of them or not. If you are eating all of them, save yourself some time and don't worry about that. Just eyeball it. All right, so this is now cooked down, so we can go ahead and add in the pesto. And we're just gonna, blend that up. Now I'm gonna go ahead and add in the Greek yogurt. This is gonna give it a little more creaminess and, a little more protein. If you wanted something a little more creamy and you don't wanna do the Greek yogurt, you could also do like a couple tablespoons of heavy cream. It's not gonna add a whole lot of calories and it just gives it a more creamy consistency. You could also do blended cottage cheese as well. If you're weird about cottage cheese texture, a blended cottage cheese is gonna add a cheesy flavor, which would be great in this, and then it's also going to add more protein. So lots of variations, but look at that. That looks so good. perfectly creamy. It looks very indulgent, to be honest. Here is where I'm gonna mix it all up with the pasta just so that it's nice and well blended. You could also just equally divide the pasta and then equally divide this over top. But since I'm meal prepping for myself here, I'm just gonna add it all to this pasta, and then I'm going to mix this well so that it just kind of coats all of the pasta nicely. This will actually make it so that as the week goes on, as I eat this, each one will taste better and better because these flavors will basically get absorbed into the pasta. We are going to finish it off with a little bit of Parmesan. And then we're going to go ahead and cap this off. These little bent-go containers. And just like that, we've got 4 macro-friendly meals. Now, let me tell you, what do you want to do? If you're not new to this channel, you got to ask yourself the question, is there protein? Is there healthy fats? Is there fiber? Is there micronutrients? The answer to that is yes for all of this. And this is just good old-fashioned, creamy, regular pesto pasta. You don't have to find the healthy protein chickpea pasta. That stuff doesn't really taste very good. Good quality pasta actually has protein in it as well, and it tastes better. So remember, eat what you love. You can still reach your goals. I'm gonna enjoy some meal prep, and I'll see you guys on the next video. All right, let me get some of everything here. That is delicious. It tastes like something you got at like a fancy Italian restaurant.